Taste is subjective. There are some of you who would have hated Season 8 Game of Thrones, and then there would be others who are wrong. Other times you'll find something that is really obviously bad, and you will enjoy it on a level that wasn't originally intended.
I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
There are times, though, when you reach the bedrock of terrible, and that is a place where the worst possible version of a thing that a thing can be is. Now, online I see a lot of bizarre, unsourced, blatantly incorrect right-wing word vomit from the generation that gaslighted us into believing that we know nothing. But nothing could have prepared me for this. Now, I've seen this poem shared around a few times, and I'm going to do a little reading of it before I do my weird little autopsy on its old wrinkled cadaver. But one thing that I want to point out is that the image that this poem is shared on is a dodgy, slanty photo taken of it, printed out, and it's written in Comic Sans. Like, this thing is blatantly just a parody of itself at this point. But anyway, here's the poem. I remember the corned beef of my childhood, and the bread that we cut with a knife, when the children helped with the housework, and the men went to work, not the wife. The cheese never needed a fridge, and the bread was so crusty and hot. The children were seldom unhappy, and the wife was content with her lot. I remember the milk from the bottle, with the yummy cream on the top. Our dinner came hot from the oven, and not from a freezer or shop. The kids were a lot more contented, they didn't need money for kicks, just a game with their friends in the road, and sometimes the Saturday flicks. I remember the slap on my backside, and the taste of soap if I swore. Anorexia and diets weren't heard of, and we hadn't much choice what we wore. Do you think that bruised our ego, or our initiative was destroyed? We ate what was put on the table, and I think life was better enjoyed. Author unknown. Share if you remember 2 or more things of the ones that the author mentions. Don't share if you remember 2 or more things, like in general, specifically of the ones that the author mentions. And now, the deconstruction. I remember the corned beef of my childhood. We still have corned beef. I don't really know what else to say about this. We still have corned beef, my guy. And the bread that we cut with a knife. Ah yes, I too tire of spoon-cut bread. When the children helped with the housework. If your perfectly able children aren't helping with the housework, that's your fault. And the men went to work, not the wife. Fucking yikes, buddy. Do you not like women having their own income? Like, why? Why wouldn't you like women to have their own income? Also, like, why? Like, the men are called men, and the women have no other identity other than wife throughout this entire poem. Like, the only identity a woman can have is wife. And if you can't see an issue with that, I don't know what to I'm gonna eat this entire jar of cat treats. If you haven't, I'm gonna do it. It's fucking driven me to this. I'm gonna fucking do it. The cheese never needed a fridge. Cheese doesn't have needs or wants. It's cheese. And the bread was so crusty and hot. Mine drifted back to bread again, did it, buddy? I get it. I remember back at a time where bread just had one consistent temperature of so hot. We'd huddle around the bread for warmth and tell stories to our penniless wives as we ate our room temperature cheese. The children were seldom unhappy. Ah yes, as we all know, unhappy children weren't invented until the great misery boom of '94. And the wife was content with her lot. Honey, are you happy? Why yes, dear. I have plenty of room in the fridge, what with us not needing to store cheese there, and tons of help around the house from my 8 children to arrange our cheese collection. If there's more to life than this, my tiny woman brain doesn't want to know about it. I remember the milk from the bottle, with the yummy cream on the top. Lot of dairy-based nostalgia in this poem. That's fucking weird. That's just weird. I love the idea that this guy will look at a carton of milk and just be like, we've failed as a species, because like that's his fucking line. Our dinner came hot from the oven, and not from a freezer or shop. Well, of course, yeah, that one's totally fair enough, because as we know these days, ovens freeze your food. Fuck! Is this motherfucker just pulling food out of the freezer and eating it just there and then? Because I'm not gonna lie, that is metal as fuck. The kids were a lot more contented. They didn't need money for kicks. Sort of danced around this point earlier, but if you think the children were automatically happier back then simply because they have a lower quality of life, then you're fucking stupid. Like, I can't even be nice about that anymore. You're just fucking stupid, my guy. Just a game with their friends in the road, and sometimes the Saturday flicks. Fucking chair. Kids still play outside. Kids still play outside. There's fucking kids playing outside right now. I'm not going to film them. You're going to have to take my word for it, because that would be fucking creepy if I did. But kids still play outside. Stop making up stuff and getting mad about it. You are an adult. I remember the slap on my backside and the taste of soap if I swore. If you think that slapping your kids and force-feeding them cleaning products is somehow morally superior than saying a swear word, then you have reached the apex of stupidity. You are beyond help. You are what the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Anorexia and diets weren't heard of. Actually, the earliest modern case of anorexia can be traced back as far as 1689, but I am terribly sorry if hearing about other people's struggles with mental health is such a burden to you and your subservient, cheese-worshipping family of soap chompers. And we hadn't much choice what we wore. Oh, honey, what's wrong? I've never seen you so sad. Don't you get it, Karen? I've got too many clothes! Do you think that bruised our ego? Or our initiative was destroyed? I think that your ego has been bruised by a society that is no longer in a rush to accept that your aggressive mediocrity is the paragon of achievement. I think that you viewed the steps that we have taken forward in the name of equality as a personal attack. I think that your ego is as fragile as the paper that this nonsense was printed on, and that's why you wrote this. We ate what was put on the table.
The table is absolute. Only that which is put on the table shall we eat, and all that of which is placed on the table shall be eaten.
Darling, did you see the new pot plant I placed upon the table? It really brightens up the place, I think. Do you realise what you've done? And I think life was better enjoyed. I guarantee that the person who wrote this was a... And some people will look at this and be like, no, what's the problem? It's just a nice little poem, innit? It's not, though, is it? You know the people that share this poem around. There's every chance that you would have seen it yourself, and you know what their views are, and they know what their views are. But the poem is presented in such a disarming way that it can just be, oh, stop being so sensitive. But the person who wrote this poem is literally an adult who is old enough to remember
the before 4 times,
and is having a legitimate tantrum about it in Comic Sans. Just don't share this nonsense about if you don't want to look like a fucking idiot. I mean, I have looked like an idiot throughout this entire fucking video, I'm sure. And I just want to keep making silly skits that don't really mean anything. Maybe they do. Maybe I'll explore them in therapy. But not today. But instead, like, I thought this poem was so fucking shitty, I just had to make a video about it. And I have no idea now how to end this video. Darling, did you see the new pot plant I put on the table? Where in England? Darling, did you see the new pot plant I placed on the table? I sweep chimneys, I do.